It's the holy grail of audio to be able to isolate the vocal from a song or isolate the backing track from the vocal without having access to the original multitrack. If you could isolate the vocal, you could make a complete remix totally with your own instrumentation. If you could isolate the backing, you can record a different vocal, perhaps with a different singer or in a different language. Today I'm going to show you 3 examples of what can be achieved using RipX DeepAudio from Hit and Mix. Audio Masterclass, by the way, offers online courses to help you get professional results in your own home recording studio. Go to audiomasterclass.com to find out more. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And please share your thoughts in the comments. For these demonstrations, I have to use music that's okay for YouTube. As much as I would like to demonstrate what RipX can do using commercial releases, the rules are that I can't. So I need to work with music that's okay to use. I have 3 examples. The first is a guitar solo because I thought that would be interesting. Then female, then male vocals. In this demonstration, I'm going to avoid confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when you carry out an experiment, but you only publish results that confirm your hypothesis. So I could try out a number of tracks privately, then for this video only use the ones that worked out well, but I don't know whether the tracks I've chosen will work well with RipX. The first time I'll know is when I record my screencasts, and you'll know too. I won't hold anything back. Let's dive in. For my first example, I'm going to isolate an electric guitar solo from a stereo mix. At this point, I don't know how well it's going to turn out, but we'll see. The mix is very clean and clear, so I'd expect the result to be good. Here's the original. Now, let's rip. So, I drag and drop my track into RipX. The first thing I do is set the ripper options. Firstly, the type of recording. I'm going to choose multiple instruments. Next is what to extract. So I'm going to extract everything, might as well. The next thing is to choose between speed or quality. For this example, I'm going to choose high quality. It does take longer. It estimates 2 minutes. I think it's going to take longer than that. For what I'm doing today, I don't need this. So, let's rip. Here we go. It started to rip, and with the magic of video editing, I can speed it up. So here we have the rip, and we can hear what it sounds like. That's good. It sounds pretty much like the original. We can see that RipX has isolated several different instruments. I don't think there should be any voice, but let's solo it and find out. There's just a tiny little thing there. Let's listen to that. Not even audible, so we can ignore that. I'll leave the guitar for the moment and let's hear the bass by itself. That's probably not quite as clean as the original, but it's not bad. There's a certain amount of slappiness there, but I have the feeling that the original was like that. It's a 1980s track, and that's how they liked bass in the 1980s. Let's try the bass drum. We can see that just at the bottom of the screen. I don't think we need to hear any more than that. Sounds okay. Let's hear the rest of the drums. The snares come out quite cleanly. It's interesting that some of the hits are longer than others. Since the original snare is a sample, all of the hits would be the same duration. Let's listen to the percussion, see what's in there. That's interesting, a bit weird maybe, but it's all there in the original somewhere. Let's see what we've got under Other. we have some faint shadows at the bottom of the screen. That is weird. It sounds like there's a flanging effect on the guitar, and the flanging sound has gone into the other track. But we came here to listen to the guitar, so let's listen to the guitar by itself. That's a bit disappointing because there's a lot of stuff mixed in there as well as the guitar. But to add a different backing to this with the same harmonies, I think it would work. We've got a few low-pitched sounds just around here, so let's just listen to those. I think that's a bit of the bass coming through. Let's see if we can isolate that. I don't really think that's part of the guitar, so if I delete those, let's hear that segment and see if it's any cleaner. It is cleaner. I'm thinking that I could probably delete more and isolate the guitar even more. So let's just go back to the beginning of that, and I'll just have a little go round about here. Let's look at that. Okay, let's delete it and see what we get. That is a lot cleaner. That's not guitar. I'm going to delete that as well. And that. Let's listen. It's getting cleaner, so with this bit of manual intervention we can clean this up even further. Let's listen to this one. Let's listen to this. Really is strange because it seems that all of the notes are playing at the same time. But I can try deleting this and see what we get. That's cleaner. Let's take that out. Okay, let's take that out. No, that was part of it somehow. Just clean up some more. It's almost there. It's almost there. That's quite close. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. So what we find is that RipX has a go at separating the guitar, but there's a lot of other stuff coming in there, so it's making some mistakes. But it is possible to go in manually and take out the things that shouldn't be in there and leave a pretty good version of what the guitar should be. I'll just listen to those first couple of notes again. That's quite close, so I'm not too unhappy with that. The other question, of course, is what if I take the guitar out and just leave the backing? So let's do that. And I do that by muting the guitar. Let's listen. It's not bad. We do have some underwater sounds, but it's not bad. We do seem to have lost the synth strings somewhere. And I think if you added a new top line to it and maybe a couple more instruments, you'd probably get away with it. Let's listen again. Okay, that was interesting. Let's move on. My second example is female vocal. Again, it's a clear mix, but it seems there's an effect on the vocal, possibly some kind of stereo detuning. We might be able to hear this more clearly in the rip. Here's the original. Forgive me now. Let's rip. So again, I can set the ripper options, but I'm just going to keep the same options that I had before. This is interesting. We seem to have more colours than we did in the last example. So let's listen to the whole thing.
Forget me not, promise to remember always. Forget me not, promise to remember always. I still remember you.
So yes, it does sound convincingly like the original, so that's a good sign. So once again, I'll go through the tracks one at a time. So we'll leave the voice for the moment. Let's listen to the guitar. Well, clearly that's not a guitar, and it's maybe because there isn't a guitar in the track. So it's pulled out a combination of the elements of the backing track there, which are a bit random, but that's what we have. Let's try the bass. It's got the notes and it approximates the sound. There is some distortion there that I don't think is on the original bass in this track. So let's just listen to that again, a bit of it. Okay, I'll say that's interesting. RipX seems to have identified a violin, and I can tell you there is no violin in this, but what does it think is a violin? Oh, it's got some nice green notes there. Okay, it does sound a bit violin-y perhaps, a bit fluty. I'm just going to play the whole rip, just to try and recognise that in the track. It's in green, remember.
Forget me not, promise to remember always. Forget me not.
It seems to have pulled out certain notes from the synth strings. It's interesting. Let's try the bass drum. We might get a more positive result with that. Okay, yes, that's what we expect. Let's listen to the rest of the drums. A nice clean snare. The percussion. Okay, there's a hi-hat there. And it's got the percussive keyboard element from the track. Let's listen to the other. That's always interesting. Okay, that's definitely other. I couldn't possibly put a different name to it. I'm interested to try the other together with the percussion drums and bass drum. That's quite a nice rhythm track. I think that RipX has done quite well on that one. So we go to the voice and see what we've got. This is exciting.
Forget me not, promise to remember always. Forget me not, promise to remember always. I still remember you.
That's not bad, considering there's an effect on the vocal. It's not really clear what the effect is, but it really is not bad. We've got these strange parallel tracks here, so I'm curious to know what the difference is. Of course, it's the vocal harmony. It's the vocal harmony. That has worked out quite well, so if I wanted to, I could delete a harmony. So let's just start it from there.
Always.
and delete a harmony just because I can.
Always.
It's interesting that it can do that. I think what we have here is a vocal that is almost usable. It's almost usable and possibly could stand some cleaning up of all these little things here. And with a new backing track, it possibly could be convincing. So jury's out on that, but I've got a reasonably positive feeling. Let's listen to the vocal again.
Forget me not. Promise to remember always. Forget me not. Promise to remember always. I still remember you.
One interesting little point is this. So if I just highlight this section here.
Promise to remember.
That's the kind of thing you could pull out as a sample and use in a completely new track. And here's another one.
Promise to remember.
Oh, some of that's missing. Maybe up here.
Promise to remember. Oh.
Yeah, she went into a more whispery kind of voice there.
Promise to remember. Oh.
So these are things that you could pull out of the track and make a new track from these elements with other elements that you choose to include, of course. Okay, that's the vocal. Let's listen to the backing track in its entirety without the vocal. I'd say that's pretty good. That's a really rather convincing version of the backing track. And with a new vocal put on the top of it, I think that would be perfectly acceptable for a lot of purposes. I'm not going to say it's completely clean, but it's almost there. Let's listen once more. Good. Let's move on to the next song. My third and final example for today is male vocal. The vocal is cleanly recorded and mixed with a touch of reverb. The backing is in a jazz style, so we'll see whether RipX understands jazz. It probably shouldn't make any difference what genre the music is, but again the proof will be in the results. Here's the original.
And then Kapow, you hit me straight between the eyes. I said Kapow, you got me spinning with surprise with all my...
And once more, let's rip. Again, we've got a lot of stuff going on in lots of lovely different colours, and the bass is easily recognised in purple. And it does look like a walking bass, which it pretty much is. Let's listen to the rip in its entirety.
And then Kapow, you hit me straight between the eyes. I said Kapow, you got me spinning with surprise with all my...
That's good. That sounds to me identical to the original. I'm sure there are small differences, but not very many people are going to be aware of them. Let's do the same as before and listen to the individual instruments. We'll start with the guitar. I don't remember there being a guitar in this. What it's got there is a combination of the electric piano, the vibraphone and the muted trumpets, and it's bundled all of those under the label of guitar. This is a difficult process, so it would be really surprising if the creators of this software made a specific function to detect vibraphone, which is quite an uncommon instrument. So that's fair enough. Let's go on to the bass, and the bass usually works quite well. Not bad. We've got a little bit of distortion as before, but it's picked out all the notes really quite cleanly. Let's go to the bass drum. Okay, not bad. And the rest of the drums. Not much, not much. Still not much, not much. Something coming up now. Okay, normally we expect to get the snare drum a bit cleaner than that, so it's identified some snare drum hits, but not all of them plainly. Let's see if the missing hits are in the percussion. Yes, I think they're in there somewhere, along with the finger snaps and the hi-hat and any other miscellaneous stuff. So we come to other, always interesting, some of it very faint shadows. Okay, some of that is vibraphone, and some of it is I don't really know what, but it's in there somewhere, so it hasn't made it up out of nothing. Let's listen to the other and the percussion and the drums and the bass drum all together. I'm going to take the other out of that. That's not bad, apart from a bit of the muted trumpet being in there. It's not a bad drum track, and if you built up a whole new track on top of that, the muted trumpets wouldn't matter, they wouldn't be audible. So, the voice, this is what we've come to hear. Let's spin our chairs round.
And then kapow! You hit me straight between the eyes. I said kapow! You got me spinning with surprise with all my senses.
That is not bad. It's not bad at all. I heard a rogue vibraphone note in there. I'm going to see if I can find it.
And then kapow! You hit me straight between the eyes. I said kapow! Me spinning.
I think it's that one. It's just in there, it's mixed in there with the other sounds. What I can try to do is just cut that off. So I've got a scalpel tool or a blade. I've got a blade tool there, and I should be able to just delete that.
You got me spinning with...
Okay, not too bad. With a bit of refinement, I think that would work okay. It's not perfect. It's very good, but it's not perfect. What would be interesting is to take this back to the original multitrack, which I do have, and use this as the vocal together with the original multitrack, and just see whether those artifacts are audible or not, because it might work perfectly well, or the artifacts might be audible to an extent. I'm not going to do that today, but that's something I might have a look at in the future. So let's go back again, and we'll listen to the backing track without the voice. That's not bad. And again, it would be interesting to go back to the original recording and get the original vocal and put it with this backing track and see how good that sounds. So once again, I'm not going to do that today, but it's something I might have a look at in the future. Well, that was interesting. I didn't know what to expect, but now I do. The results are a little bit mixed. While it's difficult to say that the isolations have complete fidelity to the original tracks, and there are artifacts in abundance, the results are probably good enough to be usable in appropriate contexts. With the isolated guitar after tweaking, and the vocals, it should be possible to create remixes with completely new backing tracks. And in the finished remixes, I doubt whether any lack of fidelity will be noticeable to an average listener. Similarly with the backing tracks, it should be possible to add a new guitar or new vocals, and maybe with a couple of additional instruments, the results should be good. Having said that, I'm not going to be judge and jury on this, and I'd prefer to hear what you have to say. I'm David Mellor, Course Director of Audio Masterclass. Thank you for listening.